What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another YouTube video. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you everything relevant and important things that you need to know about my hair transplant that I had roughly about 6 months ago. So I underwent a procedure, if you don't already know, which was back in September. I actually went to Turkey and got myself some new hair. And I'm just going to give you a bit of an update how the last 6 months have been, what things I'd probably change, what things I'd probably do differently, and just giving you guys a little bit of advice in terms of my journey with that in the last 6 months. So like I said, had the hair transplant in September, end of September. The number of grafts I had was just over about 3,000, mainly sort of the front area of the head, and then they blended the rest through my hair basically, so it wasn't kind of like thick in one area and then thin on the other. So that was kind of the first steps. I did do a video on this beforehand, basically showing the journey of like all the clinics and the hotels and my experience in there, so make sure you check that one out. And then we're going to talk to you how my life has been in the last 6 months with going through it. So the only annoying thing that I can probably think of when I had the hair transplant was probably the first couple of days, just preferably because of the sleeping. So when you have the operation, you have to keep upright. So you have to sleep in an upright position for about 3 to 4 days. It's nothing crazy, but it does, you think, oh, I can do that. But then, yeah, it's like I said, it's just a bit slightly annoying because you just got to be sleeping upright in a bit of a neck brace. And I was a bit like cautious of putting the back of my head on like a pillow, but you can do that. It's obviously open. There's no bandages or anything like that on the back of your head. It's just more annoying, and it's just like sleep is one of the things that I like to do quite a lot. Well, I kind of focus on that quite a bit. So that was probably the first bit. And then after the 10th, well, on the 10th day, you have something that is called a scalp wash. So you're not actually allowed to wash your hair or anything in terms of, obviously, in coming lead up to those 10 days. You just have to put what is called some foam on it. You leave the foam on for a sort of 15 to 20 minutes, and then you like slowly, like lightly rinse off your hair, and then just kind of dab your hair dry. But on the 10th day, you have, like I said, is a scab wash, and that takes all like the scabbing off and like basically like the dead skin of your hair. And my God, does that feel good. I just put a little clip up here of like on the 10th day celebrating it. But after the 10th day, you can kind of normally resume back to normal life, except exercise. So one of the things is that you can't do for the 30 days is actually train. And somebody for like me, who what I do is obviously fitness, I thought I would really struggle in terms of like not training, not being in the gym environment and things like that. But because obviously you've gone under an operation, your head is like, you're not in any pain or anything like that. Absolutely, that's probably one thing I didn't experience was pain or anything like that. It's more sort of like, because your head is quite numb for a good couple of weeks after from the anesthetics. You just don't feel like training or anything. So like if I was to say to somebody, if you're like feeling unwell or you've got like a migraine thing, the last thing you think about is the gym, and that was kind of the same sort of feeling and emotions that I had. And then after probably, I think I did a bit of light activity, probably 2.5 weeks in to that 30 days. That was just like walking on a treadmill, going on a bike. So basically you can't sweat for that amount of time. But once the 30 days are kind of up and you're ready to rock and roll basically from there. But yeah, it's not like ideal, but it's kind of one of the processes that you have to go through, just recovery and just making sure that your head's fine basically. I know a few people will just be kind of like do like maybe 2 weeks of doing nothing, then they have to get back in it. But I was just like, if I'm going to go through this procedure, I want to do it properly in the way that the surgeons and the professional people tell me to do. So that was kind of the point one. The next bit is haircuts. So obviously your hair comes out of like different like wild crazy lengths and stuff, because when they shave your hair they kind of like big shave parts of it and stuff, so it's like all really patchy. So you can't actually have any like clippers on your hair or anything like that for quite a while, I'd say. Definitely if you were to have like a buzz cut, I don't think it's for like 6 months or anything, but you can have scissors around like the edges and things just to kind of like tidy it up. But once, like I said, once you get past that sort of 3 to 4 month period, you can start using clippers on the back of your head. And then you can kind of go whatever style that you want to do. But in terms of the haircuts side of things, you've just got to be really careful with like the barber or the hairdresser that you're using. Just make them aware that you've had a hair transplant, because if they don't know, they kind of just think that you're just a normal customer / punter. So make that aware to them, and then they can kind of like be extra careful with your hair and things like that. But yeah, in terms of like, am I satisfied with the journey so far? Absolutely. They say like your full kind of transformation of your hair is basically within a year, and as you can see, this is 6 months worth. And a lot of people think and ask me, one of the things is about like scarring and stuff like that, because obviously they take the grafts on the back of your head, but if you were to look at my head in person, you would not really tell that I've had a hair transplant unless you've actually kind of known me for majority of your life or whatever. But yeah, so just be careful with the amount of grafts that you have in from the hair, and specifically the area. So if they're just covering like one patch of the back of your head, then you kind of want to get like a lot of it around the sides as well, so it doesn't look super thin. So when it grows back, you can see on some people's back of the head that it's quite thin, and like you can see like a kind of not like a patch, but like a light area. Say if you were to paint a wall, you can see like it's not fully like thick, if that makes sense. But like if you're having like a short back and sides and stuff, you wouldn't even notice. But if someone has a quite like decent hair at the back of your head, then that's probably going to show a lot. And then in terms of sort of like medication and things like that, you can do lots of stuff which is called PRP. They advise stuff that you can kind of take to kind of help the restoration of your hair to kind of stay and not fall out the kind of going forward. So there's lots of different research out there in terms of that. I'm sort of doing I think it was 1 milligram of finasteride, but I do 0.5 a day. So sometimes I'll do each like bite half the tablet and then like do it every day, but then sometimes I'll do it every day and just take one. So yeah, but they don't kind of like force this on you in terms of the aftercare. They've just given you, like I said, advice in terms of like what you can do to prevent your hair kind of falling out from this day onwards, basically. But other than that, pretty sound in terms of that. But I think a lot of the guys that I kind of speak to through like Instagram and just in person stuff, it's just like you actually like really dwell on like going abroad. I think it's quite like a scary thing for somebody to do, and just being uncomfortable and like just in a different country and stuff. But honestly, the clinic that I use and the guys were just like top notch, and I've always said that to everyone from day one. And the thing is, with like social media, you can actually see like behind the backgrounds of what it's all about and things like that. So if you are like interested and thinking about getting a hair transplant, always follow them on Instagram, see what they're doing, see what they're posting on their stories and things like that, see what kind of people that they're getting results from. And then they're always open to having conversations with you beforehand. Like I said in the first video, I didn't realize that you had to qualify for a hair transplant. What I mean by that is that you'll send them pictures of your hair, your hairline and things like that, and they actually say, okay, you've got enough hair on the back of your head, which is the dome area. We would take it out and then put it back into the parts that are going thin or even bald. So yeah, so like my sort of advice is, and sort of if you're thinking about getting this done, I just don't understand why you wouldn't. I don't see the kind of negatives to it as much, but again, everybody's experience is very different. I know some guys have been to like Harley Street and stuff, and they haven't like had a great transformation in terms of hairline and things like that. So I think it all depends on like how you live your life, for sure, what your diet's like, your stress levels, are you looking after yourself? All those kind of factors take into play of like your hair growth. I don't quote me on that. That's not like medically backed on research, but I feel that it's not gonna go as a negative. So say if I had a really poor diet of smoking, I was like eating junk food all the time, and I wasn't like exercising, I can guarantee you that your results will not be as fast for sure, because obviously you're not getting adequate amount of nutrients and hydration, sleep, all those kind of things. So I feel that that's kind of the kind of, you know, one of the things that, like, my hair is pretty decent after 6 months. So if you are interested and you are thinking about it and just feel like confidence things, and it's been dwelling on your head, like, I just, you know, something I want to do, I would not be sitting in front of the camera and been doing this if I didn't think that it like helped me with my confidence. It like not like changed me as a person, but like I can like gel my hair and style it in a different ways that I couldn't used to do, you know, and you know, when I was younger or whatever. You know, I'm not really thinking about like, does my hair look a bit weird on camera and things when I'm doing videos and stuff like that, or in person. You know, it's just like one of those things. It's like, yeah, it's just makes you feel more comfortable within yourself. So I think that's kind of, you know, a big part of like what this is about and why people do it, for sure. Because like when I went there, a lot of the guys were super young. I'm 30. A lot of the guys there were about 24, 25 for sure, maybe even younger. And you know, and I think what the most like common, you know, responses to asking them why they're getting it done is, you know, I just feel I want hair. I don't feel confident, because, you know, you hang around with your mates, say, you know, when you're 23, 24, they've got a full set of hair and you've got big receding hairlines, or you're actually going bald. So that in itself is just like, it's worth it in my eyes. In terms of you know, like the price and stuff, obviously it's very different. Obviously I'm a bit different to the average Joe person, but I think I paid about £2,000 for it, and obviously I paid the flights on top of that. But you know, if you got it done in the UK to in like London or, you know, everywhere, I think it's a couple of grand more for sure. Again, it's all down to preference and where you want to go. But you know, I've got doctor clients and things like that, and one of their advices is, and you know, suggestions are actually to go abroad, because they're the best at what they do over there. But yeah, hopefully this is kind of giving an insight of what you know, because I get a lot of questions. But yeah, make sure you hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for sure, because I look at my analytics in the subscription bits, and but think about it, it's like 80% are not subscribed. So please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Helps the channel grow for sure. But anything else, guys, if you have any comments, please leave them down below, and I'll catch you in the next video.